All right, so Atax, right? Atax, um, so Atax, and we're learning that it's for 5 years. The duration, the syllabic period is 5 years, or let's say 6 years. And every 5 years, the syllabus is renewed. And this document contains the areas constituting the syllabus upon which exam questions are determined. Okay. So like I said, on Sunday, we had a general class. Monday, we had a meeting. I had a meeting with the strategy case study students. And Tuesday was corporate reporting. Wednesday was advanced audit and assurance, all the level 3. And today we are doing ATAX. So all these are the level 3 papers. Next week, tomorrow, God, and I'll have for the level 2. We're starting with financial management, PSA, and that. So we're saying that the exam questions which feature in the exam for the next 5 years, all the questions will follow this format according to these areas. So question 1A is 5 marks. It says, identify and explain the obligations of taxpayers and all their agents and the implications of non-compliance. And the B part, which is 15 marks, is 20. So for the next 5 years, we are in 2026, so 3 years more, 2029, we are going to deal with question 1, and it will follow this format repeatedly for 5 years. For now, 3 years more, so for 3 years. Therefore, we should go to the exam hall with the knowledge of which questions are likely to feature here. The questions will feature, but as to how the questions will be presented, we don't know. But we know that theories such as identify and describe the various sources of income tax base, these 3 are all theories. They will feature in. Identify the rules on capital allowance and capital allowance. So this one is theory. And then explain and compute. This is computational. Scope of income tax. This is a theory. Taxable profit, computational. That is how they are. So the use of exemptions and relief, theories. Effects of group corporate structure for corporate tax purposes. This one could be the comprehensive computation. This is computational. This could be theories. All here. They could be computational. Are you getting it? So we have to go to the exams hall. Some people will say, oh, I prepare for computation. They brought theories and I didn't know what to do. No, 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 no. Why would you be able to say that? We can't say that because under the B where they'll say the question, they are theories and computational. So if they chose to bring computational, it's still under the B. If they chose to bring only theories, it's still under the B. But mostly, question 1 is computational, mostly. And some theories beneath. Okay. So taxation of insurance companies, taxation of trusts, charitable NGOs, non-for-profit organizations, property investment, partnership, taxation of partners. How is it done? See, the whole thing is this. The whole thing is this. If it comes to the theories, we may be able to read on our own, but the computational, just pick the same questions the lecturer has solved with you and solve it over and over again till you can solve it on your own. Until you can solve it on your own, you can never solve the question under partnership. Until you can solve a question on insurance companies, you can never solve it on your own. Or until you solve it on your own, you can never solve it. It means that when we go to the exam, so on the brink, if the lecturer has solved a question on insurance companies and they present the question, but after presenting the question, I am unable to, what the lecturer solved, I'm unable to solve it on my own, then in the exam, if they should bring a question on insurance companies, I cannot be able to solve it. Why? Because even the one the lecturer solved with the class, which I either join the class live or I join in real time or I watch the recorded session, even with that one, I can't solve it on my own. How much more the exam? You can't solve it on your own. I never liked the idea that I'm studying here and someone will be sending me questions from another institution that go and solve the question. I don't have time for that because already the thing is bulky, it's packed. It's a complex and complicated adventure I'm undertaking. And you are bringing me, even the one the lecturer is solving with me, I'm not seeing top. I'm not getting the head and tail. And you are bringing me another set of questions from another institution I will never even pay attention to it. Because if the lecturer has solved 2 questions under insurance, how to compute it, be able to solve 2 questions on it. Those 2 questions, ensure we are able to and solve those same questions and arrive at the lecturer's answers. We are not to balance it. We are to finish it, but we are not to balance it, or we have to do our best with it. So if I'm able to solve the two examples the lecturer has solved on insurance companies by knowing the format and what goes into the format, I remember the format on my own. I'm able to do the computation. When I go to the exam so and I see insurance company, it will be very easy for me. I just follow the format and put in the figures, draw my format down, put in the values. Whether I'm making mistakes in percentage or whatever, the format will even give me marks. The format will even give me marks. If it is trust, how did he solve question on trust? The computational part, the taxation, how did he solve it? I have to do the same thing. Pick the same questions and solve it. Right? Charitable organization, how did he solve it? I have to do the same thing. Okay, the theories, we can read them. He will give explanations because some of them can ask theories as well. That is the two. Let's go to, so I said that, let's go to Google and check on Icag past questions and answers. Sorry, and answers. Okay. So for the 5-year syllabic period, right? It started in November 2024. That's when they introduced the new syllabus here. November 2024 on the left in the square when they introduced the new syllabus. So the new syllabus is covering 2024 to 2026. They are all following the same format. They are all following the same format. The format of the Atax. All these papers, they are all following the same format from November 2024 to 2026. So if you don't know of any past questions and you are struggling, just follow the format. And when you follow the format, question 1, I want to know questions under which they've set so far and insurance or whatever. You just come here, November 2024 to 20, you can find them here. Or there's another website. The website is, let me see whether it's functional, pasco.com. I used to use it some time ago. Let's see whether it's functional. I think the guy wasn't having money. He couldn't maintain it. Hey, what is this? Okay. Let me use Google. When you go to pasco.com, it generates a lot of questions like the topical areas. Oh, it's not functioning anymore. I used to use it years back, pasco.com. It's just about ICA, past questions. So for that one, even if you can't identify which year has a particular topic, when you go to pasco.com, you just type in the topic, let's say tax on partners. It will reveal about 5-10 past questions on taxation on partners or partnership. Then you just go to the website here and you download them and then you watch them. So let's pick March 20, or let's pick March 2025. March 2025. Okay. Then we go to advanced taxation. So when some of us go to the exam, so we say that, oh, I don't even know. I was expecting this. It didn't emerge. I was like, why should you expect some and leave some out? It can never be. Because if you know the format, you should know which questions are likely to emerge. You can't say this will come, this will not come. You just have to study it. All right, because we have the area. So let's look at the strengths here. Many candidates had control over the computation of the limits on the financial cost and gains from derivative. The fiscal question was well treated, meaning that year they asked questions on financial costs and gains and derivatives. Weaknesses. These weaknesses mostly is prevalent. It's across every diet. The insurance question was very strange to many candidates and therefore affected their performance. Why was it strange? Because they didn't pay attention to the format. It's here. It's question 1 is here. So this insurance company is question 1. Let's check whether it's question 1. Just read the requirements. Compute the allowable financial cost, 6 marks. Premium insurance. For me, it will only be straight for me because I know it's in the format. So I'll prepare for it. So why will it appear strange to the student? Because they don't pay attention to the syllabus, the format, the standard. This is the standard. Okay. So we cannot approach the exams hall or we cannot visit the exams not knowing what questions will be asked. No. We must have predetermined, or we must have predefined areas the questions will emerge from, so that we are not taken down by surprise. So insurance question was very strange. No, it shouldn't be strange. Candidate did appear to have control of change in underlying ownership. It was a surmountable area in the past. Examiners should continue to bring up different scenario questions in this area, which has become trendy. Okay. Poor construction of English language continues to manifest as a plague, because some of the questions, they are theories. Instead of calculation, they'll bring theories like that, where we have to write grammar. Computation of self-assessment was a challenge. Self-assessment was a challenge. Candidates continue to solve questions without providing headings. See, they don't write the titles and underline them. Thereby, let's say, if you are computing tax liability, let's say we have taxation of charitable organizations, I'll say computation of tax liability for charitable organizations. They don't introduce it, so they are mistaken. Candidates in an attempt to replace million with zeros and use 3 zeros as substitutes for million cedis instead of 6. This is a very serious mistake. Okay, so that's just it. So look at question 1. Question 1 is on financial cost and financial gain. They gave it 6 marks. Then, again in exams, please don't bother to read all this plenty grammar. The 15 minutes, go and read the requirement. We should read the requirement. The requirement is the determinant of our ability to solve or not to solve. Because if you see financial cost and you don't know what it is, you cannot solve the question. So we should read all the requirements within the 15 minutes and know which one should begin. The B starts with what? Insurance, 9 marks. Determine the chargeable income. So if I'm to start, I'll write the chargeable income or computation of the chargeable income of Premier Insurance Company Limited, and I'll underline it. That is what the examiner was saying some students failed to do. That is 9 marks. And they brought the theories. So this is what they did. You see this side, as a tax analyst working with this, explain to the select partner 4 pairs of issuing practice notes. This 5 marks is this one. Is the first one here. Is this 5 marks? Is this 5 marks? And the 9 and 6 are here. They divided this section into 2. The 9 plus the 6 to make it the 15. That's what they did in this March 2025. So from November 2024 to 2029, or so far, from November 2024, all the formats follow up this same Atax format for the period. Okay. Now let's see another one in March 2026, the one that we had earlier. When we read the examiner's comments, we know the pitfalls and how to evade them. Thin capitalization and tax implication of underlying ownership appeared well understood by many candidates. Also, mining sector taxation is becoming an area of control for candidates, meaning for the past, they've been failing anyhow. But this time around, they are gaining control. And like we are looking at the format, when it comes to question 2, there's 5 marks. Identify and explain the obligations of taxpayers and or their agents and the implications of non-compliance, this theory. Now here is the question 2D, which is the 50 marks. It's always on one of the two. It's either on mining and minerals or it's on petroleum activities. So we have to prepare for these two, theories and computation. So mining, explain the provisions, this theory. Computation, this computation. Computation, taxation of rehabilitation and recombination activities, computation. Treatment of losses, computation. Assignment of interest, theory. So these 3 are all computation under mining. This theory. When it comes to petroleum also, understand and explain the taxation of petroleum activities, paying attention to the following. Discussion of various revenues available to the government, this theory. From petroleum exploration and operation, this theory. Upstream petroleum operations, this theory. Taxation of the upstream, taxation of gains on assignments, distribution of the oil to the stakeholders, the distribution, computation, government stake, computation, different contractual obligations. So all these 3 computations. Computation of capital allowance and other petroleum, taxation of subcontractors. There can be also computation here. Petroleum revenue management law, this theory. So if the lecturer or the lecturer is teaching and discusses mining or minerals, All the examples he will solve, remember, they are all past questions. They are either ICAG past questions or they are CIT past questions, right? Because the taxation, they are the same concept. So if the lecturer solves the same questions with us, what I will do as a student is pick the same questions and solve them. If he solved 3 questions and going to pick a past question and looking at the solution of the examiner will confuse my life, I'll just pick the past questions the lecturer has solved, solve all of them again. Solve all of them so that on my own, to the extent I can maybe to solve the same thing. I'll not even bother going for further past questions because already the information or the data or the kind of items, materials I'm learning, there are many. So going for another past going to kill myself, I'll just concentrate on what he has solved. During the class, during the mock, during the intervention, I'll solve all those questions and ensure I'm able to solve all of them on my own. And you don't start in October. No. Why do you start a month before the exams? You have to start immediately it finishes the same way, cover it up. Capture it, cover it up, capture it because we don't have time, right? So all minerals, all questions on mining and minerals is in 2B. If you check, this is which year is this? March 2026. Let's check March 2026. Question 2. See, mining. Kuntum mining. Let's go to March 2025. Kanto mining. So we know that mining is emerging. And question 2. Why? Because it's in the format. If not for mining, it will be petroleum. So all the petroleum questions, the computations and the explanations and the theories, I'll pick the same computations and solve them again on my own. Theories, write them again on my own. That means I'm prepared because this format, they're always in my head. Like I've discussed earlier, I start using the format mostly when it's in October. Immediately we enter 1st October. Then I begin with the format because that is where I begin to read the slides, read the lecture notes in accordance with the format. So as soon as it's 1st October, immediately we start a mock. Even some of them this week will be for mock. That's the second week in October will be for mock and lectures. And the next week will be for intervention, right? And the last week, that is if the exam will take effect the 1st week of November. But this time around, the exam will take effect from second sorry, my network went off. So in November, the exam will take effect second week of November. November 1st is Sunday. So I think it will be the first week. So second, third, the first week of November. So it means the intervention will be somewhere 19th to 25th. That's what the intervention will cover. Then from 26th will be the personal studies of the students. So assuming you are to start studying in October. No, you can't pass. You can't pass. So you have to start, let's say in August. If you are researching, you can start reading the lecture notes in accordance with the format. If you read the lecture notes independent of the format, there's going to be an issue. You have to read the lecture notes or the manuals in accordance with or in conjunction with the format so that you know that I'm reading this, I'm reading that, I'm reading that. Let me show you how I did mine. Please, can you all see it? Can we all see it?
Yes, please.
Atax. As I said, I have all the formats from level 1 to the last. If there is a format, I will give the question one touch. If there is a format. If there's a format, the question will only need a one touch and it will work out. Okay. If there is a format, the question just needs a one touch and it will work out. Hold on for me.
Please, we can't hear you.
Yeah, I've paused a while. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
No, please. We can't hear you. You are far from the mic.
Or maybe it's you. But please, can you all hear me?
Yes, please.
Maybe it's okay. So please increase your volume. So please watch this carefully. This is the format we are dealing with. Chapter I mostly use the ICAG manuals. Then if there are lecture notes, I'll combine both. And use them. So when you see chapter 1, chapter 2, they are the ICAG manuals I use. So in the ICAG manual, where I'll find this A, where I'll find this A is in chapter 1 of the ICAG manual. The B is under chapter 2. So when I read all the chapter 2, you could see I check it. I identify this, I check. Identify this, mean I've read it. And I mostly do this in October or the last week of September so that I will have enough time. And at the same time, I'll be following what the lecturer is teaching. At the same time, I'll be solving the same question the lecturer is teaching whilst I'm reading. So it's a really packed month. From the last month of September into October, it's a packed month, right? Uh, and as we know, ICAG, you don't have friends. You become antisocial. You can't go for funeral. You can't go for this unless it's closest to you. I get in it. So if you know October will be very packed, you can start earlier in September, especially with the theories. If I'm reading, let's say chapter 1, these are all theories I'm reading. Chapter 2. Chapter 2, if I get to the computational aspect, let's say taxable total profits, the comprehensive computation of taxable income, and I want to solve and income tax liabilities, including capital allowance, and I want to solve an example. I'll not go and pick past questions. I'll pick the lecture notes, which the lecturer has solved with us on this capital allowances, and I will solve them. This one means taxable income, which involves or includes capital allowances. He will solve one. I'll pick the same question and solve it. I'll not even go and pick any, what's the name? Any past question to confuse myself, because some past questions, the values, you don't even know how the examiner got the value, but you see it as part of the answers. Meanwhile, with the lecturer notes, which the lecturer has solved, the examples and illustrations the lecturer has solved with us, he was explaining them. So why don't I pick the same question and solve them until I'm able to solve them on my own and go and write my paper? Then I'll go and pick an examiner's solution, which is not there to explain to me. And here, when the lecturer is teaching, he will solve the same example. He will solve questions on this, computational questions. The mock too, he will include it because the mock will be a standard. By the time the mock will be ready, he must have finished teaching all the areas or all the topics. So the mock question will be a standard past question from different years put together, right? And in the mock, he might solve the mock with us during intervention. So intervention, I have to solve those same questions which he solved in the intervention again and ensure I'm able to solve them on my own so that when it features in the exam, I'll be able to do it. The same thing will not feature, but the approach will feature. The approach will be the same because I know the title is one. If it is an income statement, I know it is going to start from, let's say, sales or revenue. If I'm going to do this allowable and disallowable deductions or whatever, the same format. All right. So here too, you see allowable deductions. I just wrote the general rule because it's here. Explain allowable deductions using general rules. So I wrote the general rules here so that I will not forget. Residual deduction rules and specific rules. So the three of them are here. And I've read. So if the question should come, theory on deduction rule, I've written them here, I've read them. I just want to describe the various sources of income tax base. Employment, business, investment. So where can someone get income? That is why we are saying that as we work, if you are thinking of earning revenue or income from only one source, is bad. If our revenue is from only one source, is bad. Why? Because from taxation, we learned that sources of income are one, we can get income from employment. We can get income from investments. We can get income from business. So if I'm only working and I'm always relying on my salaries, I'm not being a wise person. I must have investments, which can also bring in income. If I'm able to gather money, I must set up a business. whether it is a salon for somebody to handle for me, it's anything. So that I'll be getting money from all these three sources, from employment, from my investments in shares or treasury bills, and from my business. Maybe I'm running some business, even if it's Momo vending, it's my business. And somebody's looking at it for me, so I'm getting money from there. So source of income are three. I shouldn't rely on only one source of income, only employment. No. Investment, businesses, that's it. So those are the three, and they are all explained here. Are you good? So that is it. That's how we have to study the formats. That's how we have to study the formats. Okay. Now let's go back down here. So it continues. It is detailed studies following the formats. You could see that I've checked all of them, telling that I have read them. I have read them. So if I've read them, then I'm good to go. I've checked and I read everything. Make my notes, group, corporate structure. Where if I'm not getting it right, it's not in the lecture notes, it's not in the Icag manual, it's not explained well, I'll use AI. At last time, if you watch the video of Sunday, I showed you how we can use AI. You just copy the same thing, take it to where I tell AI to explain it to you in accordance with Icag. Then AI will take time and explain. If you have any question, you ask the chat, the AI. ChatGPT is just one of the numerous AIs. There are over 50 AIs around the globe. I getting it. Huh. So we use them and it will explain. So some of these notes, I made them through AI because I wasn't understanding it from the Icag manual and it wasn't probably well captured in the S&D lecture notes. So I have to use AI. Then when I use the AI, I come and compare again. Then I'll get the concepts work. I good. So it's a lot of work. And with the formats, if you go by the format, you pass because you know wherever the questions are emerging from. So this is for question one. This is for question one. Now let's see the next one. So behind it, let's see what I wrote behind here. Let's see what I wrote behind here. Okay. So here I always do my assessment, conduct my assessment. Tax administration. Tax administration. Always, tax administration takes 5%. Then business income. So question one, the 5% is tax administration. Question 2B, let me do it this way so that we can get it. Hold on. Good. So what is question one? This question one we are looking at, the 5%, this 5. It is tax administration here. It's 5% here. Tax administration here. Then when we add it to the B is on business income questions, 15 marks. Together gives us 20 marks. Question 2 is tax administration again, 5%. Then the taxation on natural resources and petroleum, right? Natural resources, that is petroleum and mining, together give us 15 marks. So the question 2, it also give us 20 marks. Tax administration says 5%. And the taxation of natural resources such as petroleum and mineral or mining gives us 15, 20. Question 3, fiscal policy, 5%. So when I come here to question 3, the first 5 here, understand and apply fiscal policy is 5%, question 3, right? And then the next one is tax planning, 15%. Together gives me 20. Question 4, so this one is tax planning. Provide advice on minimizing or deferring tax liabilities using standard tax planning measures, taking into account ethical considerations. All of this, sometimes they are computations, sometimes they are just theories. Tax planning and ethics, right? All of this. What is the name? DDT, is it DDT? Double DDA, DDAT or something. Double taxation, DTA, double taxation agreements, right? All of them are part of the tax planning. Okay. Disclosure of tax information, the different rules of a tax, all these, they are all tax planning. So if there are computations in there, the same questions, I'll solve them. The same questions, I'll solve them. When we go to question 4, we have the fiscal policy again. So fiscal policy appearing 10, it has 10%. One in A, one is there, 10%. Then we have the 4B, transaction taxes, which is VAT. VAT, 15, 20 marks. Then question 5A, we have the emerging and current trends, and we have international taxation. I think the international taxation is the DTA, double taxation agreements and co. These together, emerging trends and the IT, and the current trends and the IT, all 20%. So we know that tax admin is taking 10%, which is here and here, of the max. We know business income is 15, taxation on minerals, and this is 15. Fiscal policy is also taking 10% here and here, 10%. Then the others are 10, 10, 10, this is 50, 50, 15. So when I go to the exam hall, I already know the directions and areas the questions are emerging from. These are also the partnership details. I was writing the notes here. Okay, so based on all this, I'm able to prepare for my studies. And over there on the left, I was writing the over there on the left, I was writing the chapters from the Icag manual here. I was writing the chapters. I was combining the Icag and the SNE lecture notes together. I was combining both. I get it. But here, if I pick the Icag manual, chapter 1 is the A, like I showed you. Chapter 2 is the B. Then chapter this, I think this 3 or so. 3 is the 2A. Then 4 and 5. This is also in chapter 1. They are in tax admin, also chapter 1. It goes with this. Then 4 and 5 is the B. So the B, the 4, 1 is mining, the 5 is petroleum. That's how they are for. Then there's chapter 3 is fiscal policy. So here will also be chapter 3. This is also fiscal policy. Chapter 6 is the tax planning. Chapter 7 is this. Chapter 8. So when I pick the chapter of the Icag manual and I read, if it's chapter 8, I know I'm talking about, I'm learning on this. And 10 marks will come from here. So when I'm learning on it, right, which is the question 5A, I'll just come and look at the areas here. This is a 5A, 10 marks on emerging trends, emerging and current issues, 10 marks. So when I pick the chapter 8, or when I visit the chapter 8 of the Icag manual, and when I read, I check. 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 When I read, when I read, I check. When I read, I check. I get it. That's how it is. So before you realize, we are done. We are done. And you'll be okay. See, this is chapter 2. This is chapter 2. Look at it carefully. Tax administration. Up there. Tax administration here. Tax administration. Then we have mining. See, I underline it. It's also here, mining. So all these here are mining. It's on chapter 4. It's from chapter 4 and 5 of the Icag manual. So when I read it, I check it. The computation, I don't spend time going to solve any computational questions again. What the lecturer solved, which I understood when he would explain it, I pick the same. If they are 5, solve all and ensure I'm able to solve all on my own. The same questions. The same questions. But we go and pick a past question and your head will be aching you. After that, I come to petroleum down here. This is petroleum. You see me underlining it, petroleum here. All these are petroleum. Calculation, this calculation. This is theory, this computation, right? And I write anything, this is all petroleum here. Then the petroleum, what issues, if we have this in mind, we know the questions we know where the questions are emerging from, right? What issues are types of petroleum contracts? Production, is it production sharing contract, PSC, royalty and tax system, service contract, because it's because they've said it's there in the format that different contractual obligations. That's contract and a petroleum. And these are all the 1, 2, 3, and 4 hybrid. So when it goes to the exam and the question should come from petroleum contract, I should know that, oh, it's there, it's captured in the syllabus. So I shouldn't be surprised when I see it. I should never be surprised when I see it. Okay. So back to, before we take any questions, that's how we go by the structure. Let's look at the next ones. This question 3, following the same structure. So if the syllabus, it's a lot of work, yeah, but we want to pass. We just need 50%. Okay. Fiscal policy, chapter 6. And the Icag manual 2, the SNA lecture notes, they are also covered under fiscal policy. So if you know that if you pick the, let's say S&D lecture notes, right, and you are reading, or where you are reading on the fiscal policy, know that fiscal policy questions are contain 10 marks, right? The fiscal policy questions contain 10 marks. So one is at 3A and the other one is at 4A. The other one is at 4A. Yeah, here's it, 4A. Also 5 marks. So 10. So when you go and they ask fiscal policy, you know that fiscal policy questions, one will come at 3A, or question 3, whether A or B, one should be 5 marks of fiscal policy. Question 4, whether A or B, one should be 5 marks of fiscal policy. You should know that already. So maybe you pick if the question says, we have been given the questions, we have 15 minutes to read through. I know that question 2B, the 15 marks there is on petroleum or mining. So which one are they bringing in? Question 1, they can ask on insurance company, they can ask on trust, they can ask on charity organizations, that's not-profit organizations. They could ask on companies. They can ask on partnership. So which question 1, which question 1 business entity or business type are they introducing? Which question 1 business entity or type are they introducing? Let's use this one, for example. Question 1. Okay, they've dropped the question before me. What are they asking under question 1? They said financial cost. It's of a company, business entity, right? They are within the scope of the syllabus. The next one, they said chargeable income for insurance. They've also asked insurance here. They are within the scope. Here is tax administration. So they are within the scope. Then we shouldn't read the scenarios within the 15 minutes. We should rather read the requirements, because the requirement will tell you compute the tax payable. If they should compute the tax payable, which entity? Mining. So question 2, they can bring mining or petroleum. Here they brought mining. I said, okay, that's fine. Now I move on to question 2B. Compute installment payment for the 4 quarters for the year assessments. Right? Question 2B. Is it question 2B? Yeah, question 2B, right? So if it is 4 quarters for the year of assessment, what is it about? Monetary complaint is a self-taxpayer of the GRA. The company committed new plants, and this. Okay, it should still fall within the scope. Complete the penalty by this company limited, if any. Let's see question 2. They should all be within the scope. If it's a petroleum company, they can bring in the tax or whichever one, they can bring it in. Okay, they can bring it in. Okay, this is March 2025. Let's see question 3. Requirement. Explain how you are likely to manage the actual potential conflict of interest. Question 3A, 5 marks. Where is it coming from? It's coming from fiscal policy. That's it. Then the other one is 5 marks. Draft a report for the proposal of over the submission, cabinet discussion on 4 benefits of foreign debts, also fiscal policy. So if it's fiscal policy, then this one will be different. Question 3, what areas do they ask the question on? Let's see. They have tax planning, good. Tax planning and fiscal policy. So tax planning. Potential conflict of interest, tax planning, right? And foreign debts over domestic debt, fiscal policy. Okay. So that's how the questions are structured. This is also 10 marks. Explain the areas of divergence between tax planning and aggressive tax avoidance. So all these 2 might be tax planning. The last one, fiscal policy. The debt one. Very good. So the tax plan, they could be computational, they could be theories. Then this is the issue, again, which students will face. Weakness. VAT administration continues to be a challenge, and they will always set questions on VAT. That's in question 4. Always. Questions will be on VAT. 15 marks. VAT. So this one is fiscal policy, 5 marks. VAT, 15 marks. It's not many, but it's a lot of computational in different areas, right? VAT administration continues to be a challenge for candidates. They perform poorly in this area. Customs administration is another nightmare. So VAT is always 15 marks. And that's why most students feel. Sometimes we all prepare for computations. We'll go and they sequence on theories. It's going to be like, oh, me, I was ready for the calculation. I was not ready for the theories. But meanwhile, This taxable person and taxable activity, this very taxable person could be theory, can be computational. VAT registration, it is theory. Supply of goods and services, theory. Taxable supplies, computational. Taxable value, computational. Calculation of tax payable and refunds, computational. Right? Explain the concept of customs duty. That's the customs, which he said is a nightmare, sorry. Customs duty and tax with reference to the following. Assessment of duties is computational. Types and methods of valuation under customs administration. Here, the types and methods, they could be theories plus computation. And it says here, students have difficulty with it. Because sometimes we will prepare for computation, we will go and they are asking case studies with theories. Let's see what the question 4 has. This is it. You see, this 8 marks. And there is nothing here which is calculation. They are all theories. So they want to see how we understand the principles. Prepare a comprehensive advisory note outlining all resulting VAT obligations and necessary compliance actions for ASL. Theory. So assuming we have prepared for only computation and they bring theories, the student will be like, oh, but the thing should be computational. Why are they bringing theories? It's because the student is not aware of the format. All these are theories and computational. So we have to learn or understand them. And the lecturer will explain, solve similar questions. Then that is it. We are good to go. Then let's see, this is March 2023. Question 4. You see another VAT. No 4 marks, no computation, just theories. Just theories. Right? Exempt supplies. It says tax on supplies. This one. Supply of goods and services. So exempt supplies, 0 rated supplies. Theories. Another 4, 8. Unfortunately, they brought some computations here. They brought some computations here. For each of the 3, there's 7 marks. For each of the 3 invoices above, calculate and justify the amount withholding tax, withholding VAT, and then the Chihuahua Limited should avoid. All right, good. So these 3, 7 plus 4 plus 4, 15 marks. It goes for the VAT. 15 marks goes for the VAT. Then the remaining 5 will go for the fiscal policy. The 5-year goes for the fiscal policy. Explain how the government of Ghana could use contractionary fiscal policy. That's it. So please, in a nutshell, what I'm trying to say is that they will not set questions outside the scope of the syllabus. And it's the standard. It's the standard. So whatever the lecturer will solve with us, computationally, theoretically, we should be able to solve the same questions. It's a lot of work. Sometimes I have what is called a 3-stage approach. The 3-stage approach is saying that the first time I'll attempt resolving the same calculation question. The first time I'll start resolving it. When I'm resolving it, I'll read the question and then I'll start solving it like the way the lecturer solved it. The second attempt, I'll solve the question on my own. Then when I get stuck in the middle, I'll refer to the lecturer's solution. Then I'll continue solving the same question. Then the last one, which is the 3rd step, is I will solve the entire question on my own without referring to the lecturer's solution, regardless I get stuck. So the 3rd one, if I'm able to solve the question on my own, whether when I finish, I get the same the lecturer's solution, or I didn't get the lecturer's solution, but the format was okay, I'm okay. Meaning, I can remember the steps. I can remember the format. So when I see any question of such a nature, which is petroleum in nature, I know I'll go by this approach because the figures will never be the same, right? But I need to do my best to be able to remember the format and write it. So what the lecturer will solve with me, let's say the SMD lecture notes, the lecturer will solve, I should be able to solve it on my own. 3-stage approach or the 3-attempt approach when it comes to trying to solve the questions on your own. First attempt, I'll be solving it, looking at the lecture solution, right? When I read the question, he solve it this way, and I also write it. When I read it, I try to solve it this way. Second attempt, I'll try to solve it on my own. The part where I'll get stuck, I'll refer to the lecture solution, go and look at the solution and the question, and I say, okay, this is how I did it, and I'll come and continue, finish it. The third one is the final. I'll solve all the questions on my own without referring to the lecture solution. If we're able to do that first, solve the same third one. When after solving the third one, I'll go and mark myself. again the lecture solution. Then try to solve it again. Whether the solving it again, the first time where I marked and I saw that I made mistakes, I'll look at the corrections. Also, okay. Then solve it again the third time. When I solve it again the fourth time, this time around, again, I'm solving and including or incorporating all the corrections. Then, if I'm able to do it, it means I remember the steps. Because the values will change in exam, but the format will hardly change. That is how we can go by the 3-stage. And it's a lot of work. If you can go with only 2 and you're okay, fine. For me, I can go 3 or 4 for each question you solve. So if it is mining, courses on mining, if there are 4 different questions you solve with us, all the 4, I'll go with each of them 4 stage or 4 attempts. So by the time I finish with the 4 questions, 4 times 4, 16. I have practiced this 16 times. There's no way when you present before me, I'll forget the format. I'll still remember. And I'll be devising strategies to remember it anyway. So please, we can make it. So chapter 4, that is the year. But let's go to chapter 5, the last question. Question 5. Emerging and current trends. After and all those ones, they are theories. All these question 5, they are theories. We can do it. Then the last one, H, is also theory. So question 5, they are all theories. No, there are computations here. Permanent establishment is a computational one. Double taxation, the DTA, double taxation agreement or DTT, double taxation treaties. Okay, there are computations here. All right. And some of them, you may not find them in the lecture notes. You can use AI to help you. There are some of the notes I wrote here. It was by the help of AI. AI helped me simplify them, and I use them to write. Okay. So please, we can do it. We can do it. That is all that I would say today. That is all that I will say today. So with the S&D lecture notes, know that the questions are structured and if whichever lecture note you are using, and I hope you register with S&D, which will be good, right? Whichever lecture note you are reading, if the structure of the lecture notes have been outlined as tax administration, know that anything on tax administration, it has 10 marks, 10%. Let me put a percentage sign here. Business income and the tax administration, you see it in question 1A and question 2A, 5 marks each. That's number 1. If the slides or the lecture note is on business income, let me use BI, business income, it's 15 marks here. And where will you find the business income? You find it under question 2, 1B. It's conc, or you see it there for the next, from this die to the next 3 years. Go back from 2024, you always see business income as question 1B. Number 3, if you are going with petroleum, tax on petroleum or taxation on petroleum and mining, right? So taxation on petroleum and mining, you always get 15 marks. Where would you find this question? You see it in question 2B. Always it will be there. For the next 3 years, it will be there. So when you have the lecture, if the lecture says that this lecture note is on tax, it's on petroleum and mining, know that it's 15 marks. So if you deal with both of them, you're going for 15 marks. And that question will be a question 2B. Number 4. If they say that it is on fiscal policy, FP, know that it is 10 marks. That 10 marks, is going to see the question on fiscal policy at question 3A, question 4A. Just know that. Number 5. If you see a question on tax planning and ethics, know that it is 15 marks. It's here, 15. Where will you see it? You see it in question 3B. Number 6. If you go and find a question on emerging trends, right? Know that it is 10 marks. Where will you find that question? You find that at question 5A. Right? Let's see. Question 5A. Now, yeah. question 5A. Question 5A. At question 4B, transaction taxes. So question 4B. When you want to see transaction taxes, if the lecturer says this note is on transaction taxes, you should know that it is coming to, it's at question 4B. It also contains 15 marks. Transaction taxes. Let's say a foreigner, someone is transferring money into Ghana, and this, so many issues. 15% is our question 4B. Then we have the current trends. Then the last portion, what is it for the last one? The last one is what? International taxation. So when the lecture note says there is international taxation, so this is 5, this is 6, this is 7, this is 8. When the lecture notes are on international taxation, know that it is question 5B. That is 10 marks. So when I add all these, they should give me 100%. When I add the 10 to 15, we are having 25 to this, we are having 40 to this, 50 to this, 60, right? This is 70. Then 15 plus 15 is 30, 100%. That's it. So when the lecture notes are entitled or are titled, we know that when it's coming from here, this is it. So when I pick the lecture notes on tax administration, I know they will feature in 2 different parts of the exam question. Question 1A and question 2A. If it's fiscal policy, I know 2 different parts of the questions. Each has 5 marks, which will capture fiscal policy. They are question 3A, question 4A. Then, if it is business income, 15%. I'll learn how to solve all the different aspects of the question. Because I know that when I go to the exam, it is coming live at question 1B. So I go by the format, read and check it. We'll be fine if you go by that. You'll be okay. We will not be taken by surprise. Yeah, I didn't expect this to come. No. I have the format, I've read, I've solved similar past questions which the lecturer has solved the task in class, extra classes, intervention. Oh, no. We can be able to do it. It's a lot of work, but please, you'll be okay. That's why you have to start early. If you are rested, you have to start early. Revise the notes again, and everything will be fine. If you don't understand it, you can use charts. I'll also be meeting us and we'll be solving some questions. The approach, if it's like this, do it this way. If it's like this, if you read it this way, do it this way. If it's like this, do it that way. To also caution us, and then we'll be fine. Okay, I think we've spoken quite a lot. Please, anything to say before we end the session? Hello? Anything to say before we end the session? Hello?
Hello, no, please.
Okay, so please do well. Do well to don't wait till October. I beg. October is a pressure month. Otherwise, the blood pressure of some of us will rise. So we should start early. We should start early. And then the same questions, solve them. Some people will be relying on, let's say, questions from other institutions, please. Those we don't have so much time. 1, 2, it's a lot. The content of the syllabus are a lot. So combining other lecture notes will be confusing. Just go by this method, and we need 50% to pass. So in exams, we know the areas on our fingertips that this is coming from here, this is coming from here, this is coming from here. When we start, like the requirement, just read all the requirements. We will discuss that before the exams. Then once we start, we will just be solving it to the best of our ability. We need 50% to pass. We need 50% to pass. And we have to be able to touch all the 5 questions. All the 5 questions. You have to be able to touch everything. For me, as I've always said, since I've written ICA, I touch every question. I touch every question because I don't know where they may say I do well, and I write very quickly. Sometimes my own handwriting, I cannot read it. So I know some of them, it might be correct, but due to the way I've written it, the lecturer will give me wrong. So I touch all the 5. I touch everything, except the corporate reporting where the ratios, 15 marks. Because of time, I couldn't type the 15 marks. And I passed. I had above the 50. I had above the 50%. I get in it. So you should be able to touch all the questions. Why will you be able to touch all the questions? In other words, you've read the syllables, we've read the syllables, we've read the areas, we've practiced what the lectures taught us, we've practiced and practiced over again, we can solve on our own. So we know all these things on our fingertips. The only thing is bring us the question. Let us see what the question is so that we use these tools to answer them. That's all. There's the questions we want to see now. Now we've read everything. We've read the areas and the topics. We just want to see the question, the nature of the question. Then we'll see the approach. So if you're able to get all this down, now we will now start with how do we approach the question? If there's the question, how do you approach it? Then we'll also divide that story. That one will be coming to somewhere in October, because October after October, November. So when I come, we'll pick the question. How do you approach the question? I'll see the way you approach it. Then I'll also give my approach or my strategy. Then we'll go together. That's all. So for now, we need to get into this and start early, and everything will be fine. Okay, so if there is no, if there are no views to be expressed, we can proceed to end the session. I'll record it and I'll share it in the class. So whenever you want to watch it. But it's better you watch it. If you want to rewatch, you watch it now before next week. Because S&D starts the lectures on 10th. So you have to rewatch it this week before next week. Next week is going to be very busy. From next week till the exams, it's going to be a very busy period. And please go by this method. If you don't understand it, just give it to chats. Let's see. Let me use Copilot here. There are so many chats. Copilot, if this is Microsoft Edge, Copilot is at the chat here. Have you seen it? That's Copilot on the right. So I can click it. But I want a wider version. I want to use the whole, I can click it here. And let's assume that there is a concept here I don't understand. Let me pick one and let's see. There's a concept here. What is? I'm using red color here. Let's assume the Icag manual didn't give a better explanation. Neither the S&D lecture notes. So I'll copy this. Explanation of the provision of administrative mining and minerals. I'll copy this. And I'll paste it here. So if I say explanation, I have to give it a command or a prompt. A prompt, I have to start with an active verb. Give explanation to the provisions, or give or provide an explanation of the provisions in the administration and mining minerals, right? In Ghana. If I just leave it this way, it can give me any information. It's called hallucinate. It will hallucinate. It will be guessing for me. If you give me any information I don't even need, it can even give me information about US, Canada, Mexico, Brazil. So I have to narrow the context to, let's say, in Ghana, according to, right, the Minerals Act. I'm limiting it according to the Minerals Act and in accordance with Icag syllabus. That's it. So here, it will restrict every mining and minerals operation to Ghana to refer to all the Ghana Minerals Act or all the Minerals Act of Ghana, right? And also it would also give consideration to the Icag syllabus. I'll say use simple words. So use simple words, no jargons. Before it go and bring big words to confuse my life. All right, good. So let's see what it will say. Okay. Here is a clear and simple explanation of the provisions for administering mining and minerals in Ghana under the Minerals and Mining Act 2026 Act 07703. Tailored to the Icag syllabus, it has done all the job for me. Ownership of minerals. All minerals in Ghana belong to the state. The president holds them in trust for the people. No individual or so here in the question 2A under the minerals, where it says, understand and explain the taxation of mining and minerals, paying attention to the following. Explanation of the provisions in the administration and minerals. And having read the lecture note, I'm not getting it well. The lecturer explained, I'm not getting it well. The Icag manual has commented on, I'm not getting it well. I'm using chat. For chat, I've instructed chat to use simple words. No individual or company can own minerals outright. They must get permission, which is the permission is the license or the mining lease. Like the way Chemawuntumi went to mine at Samra Boy and Tano Nimri. He didn't have any lease. Or he was giving prospecting licenses to mine. But this guy went and actually went to drain the gold and the minerals there. The role of the minister. Okay. So the mining, how is it administered? What are the licensing and the right? Reconnaissance license, prospecting. This was the one given to Chemawuntumi for detailed exploration, the mining lease for actual mining. So he was given prospecting license by the Energy Minerals Commission, and he went to, because let's say for political reasons, he now went to do actual mining. I get it. So he was just giving prospecting licenses. Reconnaissance is for initial search of the minerals, prospecting, detailed exploration, not mining. Then he contravened his rights or his limitation or boundaries and went for actual mining operations. So it will explain everything. Licenses are time bound and must follow strict rules. Small scale mining, right? Royalties and taxes. It will explain all, giving consideration to the ICA of offenses and penalties. Right, good. And everything. In summary, exam focus. That's it. Okay, that's it. So we can copy paste it. And after it gives this information, after it gives this comprehension, okay, and look at what it has done. It has given reference to the format too. When I cited it, because it's in the same edge, it has captured the format, and it's also based on the format to give me the explanation, right? That's how AI is. Very, very powerful. Copilot is one, and it's for Microsoft. So we can use the AI to also help us, and that will be okay. All right. So please, any other thing else? If not, then we should end the session. Okay. So all the best. We are in the group. So if you have any challenges, you can drop it in there. We'll see how we'll discuss and help. So if you don't have it here, you can come to the new tab, go to google.com, and you can type Copilot. It's one of the AIs. There are so many AIs. We have Copilot, we have ChatGPT, we have Claude, we have Gemini, we have Perplexity. Perplexity is for research. DeepSeek, right? We have Grok. DeepSeek is a Chinese AI. Grok is for Elon Musk. There's so many AIs. Lovable AI. There's for creating videos. We have Bio. There are so many of them. But those which are quite okay, we can use Copilot, we can use Chat, we can use Gemini, any of them for your studies, and you'll be fine. Okay, so if I come here to Google, I type Claude, Copilot AI. That's it here. It's for Microsoft. So Microsoft Copilot Companion, AI Companion. Then it will widen up the page. The one on the right is very narrow. So you have to sign in with your Microsoft or Google accounts. Then please, you are good to go. Okay. Is that all? So if there are no other questions, we will end here. And then we will see how the event will unfold and prepare to assist you.
Well noted.
Right. So have a very good night.
All right, you too. Thank you so much for your time.
All right.
Thank you so much.
All right.